if they did. It was going to happen anyway because they were having issues with him before this, right?
Yeah.
And this is a perfect excuse. But what I want people to understand is like, until you walk in somebody else's shoes,
man,
you can't tell the next guy say, "Yo, I'm just gonna drop Nike," or you're gonna tell you're not gonna wear Nikes anymore. Because if that's the case, we'll all be walking around naked.
And that's a short-sighted thought. Like, you know, sometimes you gotta. I think we just talked about this the other day, to where it's like you can't just make a decision or based off emotion or whatever else just on this one moment, right? Because this one thing, it may knock out 7 to 12.
That's okay. I just don't want it to be seen.
Yeah, you can knock off. This is one decision. It could knock out 7, 8, 9, 10 different opportunities later down the road because you made an emotional decision right now.
If we stop buying Nike, people, they don't know how many brothers and sisters gonna lose jobs.
Man, and you know, Nike is one of those spaces to where you can visibly see us.
Yeah.
Right? You can see us all throughout that shit. I mean, you know, Bron got $1 billion.
Yeah,
Mike was the first.
My whole thing is like, people are so reactionary. Like,
emotional. Oh man, look at what I sent you on WhatsApp.
Just now?
Yeah. You're gonna enjoy this one.
Everything's rolling.
All right.
What? Man, yo.
Did you
first of all, she was like Mike.
We recorded. I'm about to say we recorded. Don't say that crazy. But scroll up to the tweet under it. Keep going up more.
Up.
Yeah, keep going. Hold on, keep going. Let me see, maybe they had a picture of what the actual court looked like.
Yeah. Oh, is this it?
Yes. That's the court.
Hold on, man.
Look.
Yo, that's Indian and all. That's Big Ten and SEC.
Yeah.
What the? What? Yo. What was this?
No, that's wild disrespect. I think we can call that like what it is. That's got to be disrespectful.
So somebody said that setup probably costs more than both teams' ticket revenue this season. No,
not in college.
No,
not in women's college basketball.
Well, women's college basketball, of course, it doesn't have the same revenue as men. But that's come on now. We talking about Indiana and Auburn.
Yeah,
Auburn's women's basketball team used to be ranked all the time. They stopped playing.
Yeah, that's different energy right there.
Who put them in there?
Listen.
King and Yates, they bridging the gap from the U.S. to Dubai, put pins on the map. Ball is life, and that's a fact. And a baller's life, about that exact. King and Yates, they bridging the gap from the U.S. to Dubai, put pins on the map. There's a time to score and a time to assist. Ain't no I in team, let the winning commence. From generation to generation, game don't stop. The new and old school got the game on lock. It's all legendary, it's all necessary. We all been all-stars before February. And after that, King and Yates, after racks. But really trying to get some wins, not just padding stats. Two basketball lovers through happenstance. Built a bond that led to greatness that advanced.
Yes, sir. BTG Nation. It's been like a good 2 weeks, baby. We're back in action. The last part, though, we left y'all with tons of gems. I hope you went back and watched that a few times because, you know, our leadership talk was serious. But here we are back at home, you know, episode 6. Yo, Coach, holiday season on top of that.
I like how you said back at home.
Yeah.
I got like a 30-minute drive after this.
Yeah, we are. It's going to be beautiful. The weather's nice. You can drop the top on the whip. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not going to let you slide by with this. You tried to play me today, too.
What you talking about?
You talking about, you know what I'm saying, the Mitsubishi. you thought, you know what I'm saying? I be listening. I'll be in the back.
We got it.
When you're taking the lead at practice, I sit there and listen. I soak in everything. I'm like this smart ass.
They would, what you told me. You gotta always find a way to relate to the new age group, right?
But don't try to play me.
No, that's us. That's a representation of the brand of the company. You know, we starting it from the ground up. At least it's the red joint, full trim.
Shut up, man.
Man, I still can't believe they came to us. Was like, yeah, Mitsubishi, this is popular brand. People love the wing on the back.
I'm not even sweating the brand because it is a decent car.
Yeah,
that car saved our lives in a bad car accident that first.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But
that shit red.
About the color, man.
That shit red. And some people are probably looking at us like, what you mean? Like, me personally with vehicles, I like a good black. You know what I'm saying? White is clean too because you can't really see too much dust on that. But now I also like a color grayish type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
with some space too.
Yeah. But I'm not with the experimenting with colors on the whips. I think that's childish.
I'm just saying, the situation where I had no choice but to get.
No, I'm with you.
Just don't try to play me though with that.
No, man, it's love, man. We're cool.
No, it's not love.
Y'all see how emotional he getting over here, man?
I'm not emotional. I'm just giving you the facts. Like, don't try to play me.
Jupac on his way.
That ain't funny.
Ellie, what's up, man?
He knows there's a running joke with some of the boys about the car.
Oh, man.
Next time they need a ride, tell them to put them out on Sheikh Zayed, let them walk home.
Hey, man. Hey, it is not pedestrian friendly out here. BTG Nation, what's up, man? You guys know we're talking about Hoop Mountain Dubai, Hoop Mountain DXB, our project, our baby that is growing, yo. We're almost at 1,100 followers on Instagram. I think we're nearing 200 right there, and so we're growing quick. We're watching kids grow. Kids that came to us at 7 are turning 10.
Yeah, for sure.
Some that came 13 are turning 16 and 15. So that's a blessing, and it's amazing to watch. Parents are becoming friends, so that's a community is developing. So that's all fun. We're all growing too. It's an interesting time in the Middle East, though. We're in a different space. We got kids. We got one kid that missed class today because he flew to the World Cup game and then flew back home the same day because it's only a 45-minute flight to Qatar. Yeah. Just think about what that, there's a Netflix series on the FIFA corruptness.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I watched
I saw some of it. I didn't see the whole thing.
I watched it. It's kind of crazy just to see, what's on the back end. But we knew because football is the biggest sport in the world, and it had to be a lot going on in terms of politics. But to be here and watch kind of the World Cup's impact, and for us potentially have something happening in Qatar, or Qatar, I believe.
Man, I don't know. Every time I speak to somebody different, I say it wrong. So I'm
trying. We Americans, so hey,
I just go back to what I know.
At least we try.
Yeah, we try.
But just talk about, you speak with some people over there often. Talk about what you are hearing about that impact and what it's like there.
Well, first of all, just by having the World Cup alone is something monumental, man. Especially in the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? And knowing that the different types of people that are going to be coming from all over the world in one spot, and knowing the different traditions that some countries have, drinking for World War, just being a little more relaxed on certain rules, that's groundbreaking for Qatar. That's going to open up so many different avenues for people to say, you know what, that's a place that I could possibly go to visit, possibly live, because the perception of the Middle East, in other countries, especially Western countries, is completely off base compared to what we've been experiencing here. You know what I'm saying? And so this is going to open a lot of eyes, and for other places around the world, for people to say, oh man, they got a lot of stuff going on there, and Qatar is building every day, and it's going to be kind of like Dubai in some point.
Man, and it's just a bit smaller though, right? So it'll be different, but the money is definitely there.
Money's there.
Yeah. So what's interesting for me is, to an extent, you and I both, we pay attention to news, right? Politics and things. We haven't been as abreast on things lately because, we got things that are occupied. And work. And on top of that too, the news cycle is different here.
Right.
You know, at the crib, 24 hours a day. Right. The bad, the ugly, and the worst. Like you see all of those different type of things. So the news here in a refreshing way, it doesn't occupy your mind. Of course, we do know when there are some threats. There aren't many, right? But we do know of them. But it's been interesting to watch how the Western world and other Europeans have been reacting to Qatar.
Right.
And how they've kind of stood fast on or stood their ground on their morals and what they believe while still inviting everybody to be who they are, but in a respectful way. Right. And I'm sitting here watching people that are upset that, hey, now you can't drink at the stadium, which is a 90-minute game, but hey, we'll have designated places for you to drink around and do your thing. Or, you know, being upset that, hey, you're allowed to be who you are, but if you are, you know, LGBTQ, just respect what we say is the law of the land. Right? Be who you are. You're not going to be in jail. You're not going to be anything, but just respect what we say. And it's backlash to there, and you know, people bring up this and that. And we've been in Dubai, right, in Abu Dhabi and the UAE, to where some things have adjusted for us. And when we look at it, we're like, man, we always think in crisis management, risk assessment. Do you know how many lives are probably being saved by not allowing alcohol in the stadium at that moment?
Listen,
with people who are grown, emotionally feel crazy all over the place. Like
this goes back to the argument that we had. And I think you probably say now I was right.
Yeah.
There's no way that we say the NBA would be bigger than soccer in the world, football around the world. It just won't be because it's national pride. And so if they were allowing alcohol in that arena, the stadium, sorry, let's just say they may have to cancel this thing.
Man, and you talk about places, other locations like the Philadelphia Stadium where the Eagles play. They got a jail inside the stadium because they got to account for those things. You think alcohol don't directly go there? Like, you are a grown adult. Yeah. You should be able to show some discipline for a little bit. Have some fun without going crazy, because it's risk management. Yeah, we don't have the necessary forces to take care of all this. Right. And if we got to take care of it the way we take care of things, you ain't going to like that.
Right.
So just wait.
It's gonna be to the extreme.
Just wait, because it's still gonna be beautiful, right? And like, you know, in Dubai, we can't do things the way we normally do them in America. But hell, the way we do things in America ain't all the way right. Right. In England too, like the way we do things don't make all that sense, because we used to it, don't make it right.
Man, anytime you live somewhere different or you visit somewhere different, you just have to abide by the rules. And most times, if it's somewhere that people go often, that means the rules aren't that bad.
Yeah. And we're in different territory. Like the lay of the land in the Middle East, like it's a monarchy. So you are essentially walking into somebody's home. Right. These are families whose tribes who's been here on this actual lay of land for decades, centuries type things that go back. So we're walking into their home. You don't walk into my home and just start helping yourself to stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's a respect stuff wherever we go, right? And then they are the most hospitable people I think I've ever met when it comes to the Arabs and in this part of the world. So it's been interesting watching the media try to paint an interesting picture over there. I love the Middle East.
Well, you know, the certain types of media that are trying to paint a negative picture, you know, those are from countries that are upset they didn't get the World Cup. So, you know what I'm saying? Because they're competing.
And, you know, it was supposed to be the U.S., and most likely I think it'll be the U.S. next time.
In the U.S.?
We said it was going to be it's going to be North America, right? I think it was U.S. and Mexico together. Yeah. So the bid, on the FIFA thing, they said the best offer that was given was from America. But Qatar came in because, you know, they got that 1 point. It's a crazy story. You got to watch. They offered the meals in cash to people to get some votes. Like 1.5 to you, 1.5 to you. Let's get it. And then, you know, they built an entire infrastructure for that.
Yeah.
You know, and I watch people talk about the slave labor and all of those things that They talk about it here with America. I mean, with Dubai. And I watch people. I remember somebody asked me when I first got here, how does it feel to live on land built by human slave labor? And I'm like, yo, you're talking to a black
African American from the U.S.
Like you talk about
Right.
like we talking about we fighting for reparations.
Right.
Everybody that we've seen that's been workers, they always say, and that's domestic. That's those people that are doing skilled jobs or they're driving. They always talk about how being here allows them to build big time spaces at home.
Right.
I mean, we hear it all the time. People we work with that make less than we do in our U.S. money, but at home is crazy. They're like, yeah, I just built a 5-bedroom house back home. Right? There are labor laws, just like anywhere else. There are labor laws, and there are people who do work outside of them, but that's not a reflection of the government. Because once you do something wrong, they get you.
Yeah.
They get you.
And just to put it in perspective, man, I look back and just say, is everything perfect? No, and that's in any country around the world. And when people start throwing the word slave labor around, you think about some of the things that have gone on in other places. This is far worse. I mean, those places are far worse. So so I think it's a balance that you have to have. It's always gonna be some good. It's always gonna be some bad. And if you have a choice, then there's an opportunity for you to make your situation better. But if you don't have a choice, then that's when people have a real gripe.
Yeah. And it goes deep to like, it's hard to make money.
Yeah.
You talk about people who, I just saw something on the Dubai news thing about how much graduates from colleges in Dubai are expecting to earn, and their first job they're expecting to earn 20,000 dirhams. Right, this was their first job right out of college.
Yeah, but that's like
the States, right?
It's like getting a bachelor's degree in the States.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't guarantee you that you're going to have a 6-figure job coming. No, it just means you can get a job,
right?
And you get that job, build experience, and you keep moving up the ladder. But if you don't have that minimum bachelor's degree, then the chances of you getting a job are slim, just because certain types of jobs are phasing out now. Due to modernization and things like that. So.
And then mentioning that, right, when you talk about people in countries like India who's overpopulated, right? Places that got a lot of people, not a lot of opportunities. And those opportunities also mean you don't have opportunities for schooling. You don't have opportunities to grow your education, to build an experience for anything. So you looking at it like, hey, this is slave labor, whatever, human rights laws, issues, whatever it may be. But like, how else will these people earn a living without proper education, right? Without real skill building, all those different things. Like, what else would they be able to do if they are in a situation to where it's like, we're going to teach you how to lay down plumbing. We're going to teach you how to do this, this, and this, and then you'll be able to share it back, because it's hard enough if you got a college education.
Yeah.
So if you don't have anything and you're just in a place like, yo, I need something, like, what? Who looks at it like that sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But now we move into we kept some things quiet a little bit. Life been changing. We found out a little while ago, but we just made the announcement recently that I'm expecting. It sounds crazy right now. I'm kind of nervous to say it on TV. This is real. Is this real? But my wife and I, we are pregnant. The wife is 18 weeks pregnant right now. And so we out of that first trimester, and everybody said, be careful of, the first couple. So we here, you're going to be uncle, man. Yeah, man, you're going to be uncle. So how you?
Yeah, I'm already Uncle Juve to too many kids right now, man.
Shit, they got serious.
Shit that got real serious, man. I mean, I can't. I think, man, like, what is that, right? Like, I don't even know I don't even know what to say, how to go through with that. Like, it's still crazy to think about. like that child is coming, it's gonna be mine, it's gonna be my responsibility, blah 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 blah. But then it's like it's forever, because my mom keep reminding me. She, you know, we talking to her, my mom being great, and she like, yo, don't worry, you got time to figure it out. You got a child forever.
Yep, forever. You know, you can always call little bro.
Yeah,
little bro can help you out.
Yeah, he trying to figure it out too. Yeah. He trying to figure it out too. But it's crazy, in particular, being in where we are, what we do. We're working directly with the youth often, and then working with their parents, and then hearing, and then seeing, and then being like a part of the village for them. But like preparing to raise a child, I don't even know. You know, with men and women, there's two different reactions.
For sure.
My wife, she done thought about every type of stroller, every type of diaper change thing, every type of safe thing that got to be put on, this and that. Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking about life insurance, school, you know what I'm saying, this and that. But it's dope to have that in the space. But, you know, how would you view parenting, right? Because I know it's different from you. Most people don't know. Like, OG was like, should I just adopt somebody? I ain't going up for this. But what's your eyes on the parenthood?
Man, I mean, I feel like I've already helped raise 60, 70 kids already. I don't know, man. I mean, it's something that I've thought about a few times, and I'd like to be a parent one day, but you know, it's got to be the right time. You know, I don't feel like it's the right time. And like you said, I can always adopt, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, if you want to, you know, if you think about it, of course, the joy of having your own flesh and blood is
different.
It's something that you can't, you know, you can never, you know, imitate. But, you know, but again, you're also in terms of adoption, you're also, you know, you're giving somebody an opportunity that had no chance in hell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, you can always still be, you know, change somebody's life and be impactful. But, you know, you should be just happy, man. And just, you know what? Don't stress so much. Just take care of things as they come. Yeah. No, there isn't one parent, one family in the world that has raised their first child that was perfect. Yeah. You know, that were experts at everybody, trial and error.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure. And we definitely, you know, I think that's the beauty of the work. And being with teams and around things, but like you see the insides of a lot of situations that you would think look perfect, and just remind you like, yo, we all human, we all get the same thing. The one thing that I know is going to help me, right, is knowing that there's going to be a point where he or she just ain't going to listen to me. Right, but I don't have to take it personal, right? Because one, I knew there was a certain time where I wasn't really trying to hear what my mom said, but when I got to like 21, 22. The conversations were different. It was always like, you know what, Mom, you was right. You know what I'm saying? It's just the beauty. She just made sure she stayed consistent with the message, even when I wasn't trying to hear it, right? Because we hear that same thing right now to this day. It's like, yo, can you talk to this? Can you get through this person's head? Like,
you get tone deaf. I mean, you hear it so often, you just like start to block stuff out. Yeah. And we all went through that. You know, you hear from somebody else, you're like, dang. That's profound. No, it's not profound. You know what I'm saying? Your mom been saying it every day since you was born. You just you know, zoning it out. So, you know, we all have our, the aspects of growing up, man, being a teenager.
Well, what would you say you've learned from kids about raising kids or raising from, you know, that day that you get. Because I already know you're gonna be like major pain type. Like,
yeah, you ain't lying. You ain't lying. Like this, I'm just letting people know now. Like all this stuff that y'all want parents to do now, I ain't know. My kid is being raised the way I was raised.
Yeah. I can attest to that too. I've actually had me and the wife, we've had talks, and I was like, look, it's just certain things. Especially if we have a boy, right? It's just certain things that if I do it, you just gotta trust it, because it's. I feel like you gotta lay the law early with certain things, and you gotta nip things out the bud real quick, because if not, they become habits, and then those habits become harder and harder to break. And as you said, you get more comfortable at home. You don't listen to certain things. Like, it's just certain things that I'm just not gonna tolerate, and I'm not. I'm not from the era of, this just a different generation of kids. You gotta take, like, you do gotta do certain things different, right?
Yeah.
But the foundational stuff, that's gonna all be the same. That's gonna all be the same. We're gonna be tightened up. Like, we're gonna communicate better than the generation before. Yes, I'm gonna tell you things. We're gonna talk. We're gonna hear each other out for stuff to an extent. But when I say that's that,
I'm just telling you straight. Like, I ain't reading no books. I'm just going by what I was. Listen, whatever I say goes in my house. That's just straight up. That's in my house, my car, anything that's in my property.
yeah,
You're gonna do what I say, and I'm not gonna ask you twice.
Yeah,
I don't like repeating myself now.
said, I'm not reading no book.
Yeah, I'm just not.
I don't want to see no YouTube.
None of that.
I don't want to see. Matter of fact, my wife just sent me that some from YouTube.
Yeah, none of that. Like, stop.
I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna see what it got to say. But 9 times out of 10, though, whatever they saying, it's something that I was like, yeah, cool, and I agree. That worked for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be looking at a cat that's gonna be like 10 years old. He's gonna be like 6'3". Man, no, I gotta talk to him differently.
Yeah, for sure.
I gotta he gotta set a tone early.
Absolutely.
Listen,
Absolutely.
I know you're becoming a teenager. You're 14, 15, 16. You feeling yourself, smelling yourself. But listen, keep all that outside.
Man,
Keep all that outside.
Everything's so basketball related. You talk about building a culture and a culture within basketball so that it can get passed down. I just saw a press conference with Tom Izzo, and Tom Izzo, he got the same emotion and care today that he did 15 years ago. Right, and you can tell that those Michigan State guys, they're just built different. They're just a different family. They play different. They love each other. They do all these things different, carry themselves different. It's gonna be the same thing with family. Yeah. Like, managing different personalities, all that stuff is cool. But for me, family is important. You know what I'm saying? Like, the stuff that you do, legacy, culture, all those things, they got to be set so it gets passed down. Like, people talk about, losing this, losing that. I think that's all coming from not understanding what really, really matters. Like, respect is non-negotiable. Honesty is non-negotiable, right? Like, those type of things, once you can get that understood and well established, everything else is like, little things, little small fire.
Yeah, I mean, this new age of, I want my son or my daughter to be my friend. Nope. Yeah, you're not my friend. You're my child. You know what I'm saying? When you become 24, 25, yeah, we can talk about things. We can hang out. Mm-hmm. But you're still my son. You're still my daughter.
Forever. Like I said, forever.
You're not my friend.
Mm-hmm. And that creeps over into professional life. Yeah. Sports, we see it now with the way they're reacting and responding to discipline.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, with the way they react to things not going their way, losing, and all those other different things. Like, it's different, But that leads me. We haven't talked basketball in a while. Well, one, alhamdulillah, we're thankful. We're thankful for being chosen to have a child because we weren't sure. We didn't know. What's crazy is, I try to plan out everything. I was telling my wife, look, just let me get through the year first. Let me get through the year.
I know, that's what you told me.
I was like, I had planned it all out. And what's crazy is I sat with Illy in AK, probably, what was it, Illy, like September at a cafe. And I told him, I was like, look, I got 12 months to figure some things out. I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, I'm going to do it, and we just going to go hard. What I told them but now between now and next September, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm 100% sure that something's going to happen. Something's going to happen, right? And what's different between me at 30 and me at 15, 16, 17, 18, to 22 is that when I plan for something and a fork in the road comes, I'm prepared for it. I don't look at it like, damn, why me? It's like, all right, cool, I just got to make a reverse here. You know what I'm saying? There's a little reroute right here. It's different. You come with a different toolbox, right? Because something is going to happen. You just know for sure something is going to happen.
Yeah, like I said, you told me 12 months.
Listen, I was trying, right? We was trying 12 months. But everything is like, something going to happen. So even when we found out, this is a story for you. right? This is a story for you, my dog. We went to the doctor, right? We went to the doctor. I think it might have been in September or something like that, early October, because she was just feeling sick, and she was like, "Yo, I don't know what's going on." And so we go to the doctor, and the lady checking. She was like, she's like, "Y'all trying to get pregnant?" I was like, "Nah." she was like, nah. So she was like, "I think you guys may be pregnant." I was like, "What?" And this time we were still wearing masks. And so under the mask, I'm damn near about to faint. Mouth going crazy, jittery, you know what I'm saying? But I'm holding my composure because I don't want my wife, I know she about to tear up because it's like right here. All right, so she like, "Yeah, y'all, I think y'all are pregnant, but we're going to come back in a week and we're going to check," right? So we come back into the week, she's like, "Yep, it's pregnant," right? You want to know what the first question this doctor has?
What?
Right? And man, listen, she said, "All right, so are you guys cousins?" I said, "What?" I said, "What?" She's like, "No, I gotta ask here. It's a common question in this part of the world." I said, "Cousins?" I said, "That shit real?"
Moving on to the next topic.
Bro, King, nah, like I'm serious. I was in there lost. I said, "Cousins? Do we look like we cousins?"
Yes.
She was like, "No, that's a real question."
Yeah.
She said, Doctor was like, "Nah, listen, you think I'm playing, but I really gotta ask."
Yeah, let's move on, man. That stuff makes me uncomfortable.
We gonna go. But look, NBA update, right? Let me see. And just to start this NBA update, I wanna give a message out. I haven't been able to talk. I haven't talked about my dog in a while, but I want to give a message out, and I think you'll appreciate this, King.
And that's why, like, when people use the Mamba mentality, you guys don't do that. You're not hit. Like, don't say that. Like, don't even say that. Like, nobody should be allowed to say that. I'm sorry. Like, I knew that guy.
It was different,
Not as well as you guys. There's nobody. There is nobody. There's no. I'm the Mamba mentality. No, you're not. This guy was like.
We were out.
One of one.
Listen, we were on the track before the sun came up, running, and then in the weight room lifting weights so hard that I felt like I couldn't even shoot. And Coach was like, "What's time to go shoot?" I was like, "Motherfucker, I can't even lift my arms right now." But it's like you said, it's an everyday thing for him. It was sick.
Like when people say that, it bothers, and I'm like, look, I don't pretend like I do that, but I'm like, you don't get to say that.
Right. I'm glad.
Like, don't you throw. That's not a throwaway line.
Right.
Like this guy was like,
mentality.
that's done with him. I'm sorry, but that went with him.
Yes.
Now, shout out to Steven Jack and Matt Barnes and All the Smoke. That's the GM for the Warriors, Bob Myers.
Okay.
Right. And so that's how I want to start out the NBA segment today. You got any reflections on that, big dog?
Yeah. I'm glad he said it because there's too many cats out here. Just because Kobe, gave you a few words of wisdom or you looked up to him, you ain't Mamba. You ain't the Mamba. Like, stop throwing that out there. Like,
come on, man. And everybody's saying it.
Everybody, yeah. You have a big night, getting 30 points, whatever. You ain't the Mamba.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that makes, those guys at the top so great because they got something that you just won't be able to reach.
Yep.
Like, there's certain things about Mike that nobody will ever be able to duplicate.
Well,
and same thing with Kobe, Bron, Shaq.
But the thing is, the sad part, there are things that you can do to get up there with those guys if you have certain attributes, right? But if you don't have the work ethic like Kobe, how you gonna be Kobe?
Man,
come on, like you could be athletic, but if you ain't got the work ethic, you can never be Kobe.
And that's the number one thing that makes MJ, Kobe, all those guys completely different is the work.
Yep.
And Gilbert just talked about that, about how most of those professional athletes aren't disciplined enough.
Yep.
They don't understand that outside of practice, you got to put yourself on a workout schedule as well. You talking about coming 10, 15 minutes before practice, staying 10, 15 minutes after. That don't work in the NBA.
Right.
You are a professional. So you got to work. You got to put in that professional hours, and you talk about your body, your mind, your skill, everything. You got to work, and you got to put that schedule together yourself.
Right. Yeah, it can't. Is I guess everybody thinks that you do your 2 hours of practice. You do your hour of treatment after. That's not what these dudes are talking about.
Man,
even Gilbert. Gilbert was playing for the Wizards, and we all would work out down at the Verizon Center. Like, this dude was in the gym.
Yeah.
You know, he worked. Like, he was a professional scorer, and he worked on that. You know what I'm saying? And you could take away certain parts of his game, he's still going to get buckets because he worked so hard. So, these guys now, but again, it's a different era.
Man, we'll talk about that too, though. We're going to get to there. So, NBA update, we are real basketball people, right? We're not going to hold it. And so we know the NBA, the time to really take serious look at teams is around December, January.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's when people start getting into the flow, mainly the role players, people getting back from injuries and all types of things like that. And so we're going to start this off with the Clippers and specifically Kawhi Leonard, because you and I have been adamant about certain players getting certain type of acknowledgement and praise to begin the seasons or begin their careers. And, while they are deserving of respect, Kawhi is an outstanding player. He's been one of the best two-way players that we've seen in a long while. But, there were moments when people were saying Kawhi was like top 5, top 3, Jordan-esque, all those types of things. They throw that Mamba mentality thing out there. And for us, we were always like, look, he's good, but let's not ignore the situation he came into.
Yeah. He's real good.
He's good, real good.
But you're not on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, it's a long list of things. And like I said, I'm of the one who would say that, Paul George is better, right? He's a better player, attribution things. It's just a mentality shift. Maybe him being, he really carried his own team.
Right,
in Indiana.
Right.
So expectations are different. But what's the truth on Kawhi? Because I watched the game the other night. He only had like 8 points.
I haven't watched him play. Is he healthy?
I don't know. You know how I feel about health, right? I'm a Kobe guy.
If you step on the court, you're ready to play.
And then there's sometimes when you're supposed to be, this is another thing what we said, like he's not box office, right? Nobody's coming to the game to watch Kawhi Leonard play.
Right.
Like, because you're not going to see anything special. That's no disrespect to his game, but NBA is entertainment too, right? We do show up and get tickets and jerseys for certain people.
Right.
But he on the court. Right, just like that's like we say for AD, right? We get tired of hearing excuses about AD's injuries, but Kawhi might have played like 80 games in the last 5 years or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's been quite a while since he played a full season, even 60, 65 games.
Yeah,
something must be really up with him, or it's something mental where he won't allow himself to go hard unless he's 100%. Now of course, there's been speculation that that's just his nature. He's always been a guy that if he's hurt slightly, he's not playing. And so that could be true.
And that's trash too, right? I don't like him, but I think.
Now, it's no question. If that is the case, that's trash because you get paid to play, and you're a professional.
Yep.
And you're supposed to be one of the top professionals. People, you say he's not box office, but when you combine him on a team with Paul George, and you got Ty Lue coaching, and then for the Clippers, people are coming to see you play because they want to see the team win.
Yeah.
So you got to perform. If you're not going to perform, man, give the money back.
Yeah, I just think that there's a clear difference between players, right? And we got to start including that in totality, professionalism as well. You come from that era where MJ was going to show up every night. He knew that he had to
might hang out all night.
Yeah, but he was there.
But he'll show up the next day.
He was there, right? You hear Kobe talk about the fact that, hey, my game this night, even though it may be 35 and maybe a back-to-back, there's a kid who saved up to get that nosebleed seat, and it may be the first and last time he ever sees me play.
Yep.
Right? Shaq told the story in his documentary. He got a documentary out, docuseries, about how him and the Sarge, his stepfather, took him to a game in Atlanta. He always talk about that white dude, that big dude that he watched play. And he was like, yo, if he getting 15 mil. Contact, right? If he getting 15, then I can get at least 7, right? But he was at the nosebleeds watching that game, right? That changes everything. So He talked about watching Dr. J, that change. And so when you are at that space and you're getting paid millions of dollars and you're not playing, and you've been sitting down for years trying to get it together, you know, I got to start to question that. That's a kink in your armor. Just like we talk about people who say Kobe was selfish. You know, we give LeBron his flack for not being here in the fourth quarter against the Mavericks or going here or going there. They were available though. Yeah, they gave you the ammo for that.
Everybody that's been considered one of the top players at their positions or in the game period have had their critics. But for some reason, Kawhi is all because here's the reason, right? Because he's quiet and keeps to himself. Yeah. So people want to protect him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. If you're not available to play, it's a reason. Either you're actually hurt or you're a little soft.
Yeah. Like I said, like you know, they talk about this Kyrie, right? Talk about his availability and all these different things. I mean, Kyrie got one of the greatest shots in NBA Finals history, right? Right, he showed up in those moments, right?
But then listen, you know, there's a million people behind the keyboards going to counter that and say, well, Kawhi got one too where he put Philly away. You know what I'm saying?
Eastern Conference Finals.
I'm just saying, but he went on to win it. You know, and so the people, I know it wasn't the finals, but people are going to say they're going to bring that up. So you know, Kyrie himself too. He had issues with being healthy. You know.
That affects his, now that's box office. That's, you know, arguably the best finisher under the rim that we've seen.
Right.
Either hand. Like the best handle we've ever seen. Like some of those things are almost definitive type things, right? But his legacy on the court is questioned. You know, off the court things, whatever. But when we just talk basketball, you know, Kawhi, I think he left some things unseen. You know, we hear people talk about KD got so much to prove when he goes to Brooklyn or whatever. The real person who got a lot to prove is Kawhi in LA and the Clippers, right? That whole thing. So, you know, I think that's something we definitely got to watch. You know, we talk about new king in town. That's a skip, you know.
Oh, they put that commercial.
Oh man,
they put that away quick.
You got to stand by that. You can't. Yeah. So let's look at this NBA standings though.
New Balance.
And we do have a young lady who's rocking the newbies too, and the Kawhis, Ava. She's rocking those Kawhis. Yeah. And so, if we looking at if I'm looking at the standings right now, right? Shout out to Boston for playing through turmoil. 15-4. You know, we gotta keep Jason Tatum on that MVP watch. The Bucks 13-5. You know, Giannis and them doing what they do. The Cleveland Cavaliers 12-7. The Pacers, that's the one. 11-7 and fourth in the East. Right. Winning games. Tyrese Halliburton doing his thing. You know, Rick Carlisle's there. So they're gonna play good basketball. Buddy Hield and those guys playing well. The Hawks at 11-8. That's an interesting crew right now too. They got a different sauce going around. You know, Murray and Trae Young, they're starting to become what people are saying the annoying backcourt. They talking a lot of trash. I watched the other night, they playing the Rockets and Murray hit a shot and then smacked somebody in the back of the head after he hit it. Like he held the follow through, came down. They ended up losing to the Rockets too. But they yapping. I think they're a trade away. They got to make a move.
Yeah,
they got to make a move. And then the Sixers, you know, they got injuries issues. You know, Maxi's out too, and Harden is out. Like, you know, Embiid can't play all those minutes. Like, they set my man up. You know, that's that trust the process situation. It's coming back to haunt him. Like, it's the basketball, you know, that basketball problem.
Listen, you know, that trust the process stuff was terrible from the beginning, man, where you just tank on purpose. That's just crazy. Like, you should be, you know what I'm saying, you should be not allowed to participate in the playoffs for 5 years or something like that and not get draft picks. That's crazy, man. You know, look where they are.
Look at the culture that builds. Right? Like that builds a culture that is almost irreparable. That's how you get into a situation where Ben Simmons and Embiid and all those guys have those issues because the culture there was terrible. You don't have no respect, no professionalism going on there, no consistency. Like, no, this is just how it's going to go. Like, look at OKC. right? Even with the stars they've lost and all those other things, they've maintained a solid organization.
Right.
Right? Like, period. So even if somebody's coming in and out, they're going to develop into a good pro. Look at SGA right now killing. Right? Like, you guys did all that. Now you finally get 2 superstars and you don't know what's going on. Yeah? And they don't have the culture there to help build them and help them mature into pros.
Yeah, I mean, that and the pros they got are
Terrible.
aging.
Yeah.
And then Embiid has dealt with injuries a lot, you know. And so I mean, but it all comes into play together, you know.
All right, and now you know they got the play in, so the top 10 is what you look at, right? Because
Top 10 overall, or
the top 10 in the East,
Okay.
right, in both. And so the Raptors are number 7, Wizards are at 8, Knicks are 9. Oh, your boy Brunson was just balling the other night.
30-something.
Yeah, he just balling. And then the Nets are at 9 and 11. And now I will say this. I did watch a couple Brooklyn games, and Ben Simmons is catching his stride. Now I've been watching the people talk. Listen, I've been watching the people talk crazy about Ben, right? When he was rightfully so, because he was thinking it up.
Yep.
But these last couple joints I've been watching, and I wasn't watching his stats. I was just watching his pace and his activity on the defensive end, because that's when you know he's getting in there. And so I'm saying, okay, 28 and 8, okay, all right, okay, 15, 7, 9, 3 blocks, 2 steals, and I'm like, all right, y'all was saying some stuff earlier about this and that, rightfully so, but he responding. It's like 5, 6 games in a row.
Yeah, man, but come on, he's got to have a hell of a season to come back from all that stuff. Because man, come on, man, you can't be making that. You can't be that type of player, and and we say, oh yeah, man, he had 10, and 7. Man, I don't care about that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
If you do that and you propel them to wins all the time, and you're making sure Kyrie and KD got 30 each, then that's different.
Yeah.
But come on, man, like.
But I'm saying,
You got so much to come back from.
I'm saying it's getting to that space though. I'm talking about it was 2011, and he's shooting shots like he being aggressive offensively, and I'm like, okay, now they're gonna be something to watch, because they starting to pick up, and then TJ Warren is coming back for them
again. It's still early. We'll see. I hope that, because I would love to see them make a deep run. And not so much for Ben Simmons, I could care less.
Yeah, I want to see KD, man, and Jacques Vaughn.
I like to see Jacques Vaughn do well, because that's a bad situation.
What, man?
Situation. But he's due to be good.
After the Magic situation,
to be good, put in a good situation, because anytime you can coach down there in Orlando,
man. When what now? Disappointment in the East, Miami. Right now they're 9 and 11, which is they're the same space as the Nets, but the Nets have more upside. Obviously Kyrie was out 8 games. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things going on, but they're on the uptick. But the Heat, a move needs to be made between Miami and Atlanta. They need to make some moves. They need to make some things happen. That has to happen. And the move that Miami need to make is they need to let go of Kyle Lowry. Because Kyle don't want to come off the bench, right? He going to be a Hall of Famer. He going to be all these different type things. And now you're going to push him to the bench. And then you're going to make Tyler Hero a point guard. And he is a scorer. You got to let him go do his thing. But
he is definitely not a point guard.
Man, you're going to force him into that space. And Kyle Lowry can't really fit in other spaces. They got to make some changes. So that's going to be interesting. Now we go to the West Coast, right? Number 1, Phoenix. And they've been playing without Chris Paul.
Yeah,
right?
What kind of injury does he have? Oh, his heel.
Yeah, his heel. Yeah. All right, take your time, CP.
Yeah. Take
your time. Let the young bucks cook, right? They're doing their thing. DeAndre Ayton earning a little bit of his money. He's still soft, though. Yeah. Denver Nuggets, 12 and 7. Number 2, Pelicans, 11 and 8. Number 3, the Grizzlies, 11 and 8. And now this is the big one. The Portland Trailblazers, 11 and 8. Right? And then just the other night, Anthony Simons put up 38, and then Jeremy Grant 44.
It's just a matter of time.
It's a matter of time?
Don't worry about it.
It's just don't worry.
Trust me. Don't worry about it. Trust me. Right as we speak right now, Dame Dollar's in a hyperbaric chamber right now trying to recover.
But we got to give Chauncey some credit.
No.
Yeah, that's what I do want to do, because we did look at that, and all of us was like, "Yo, you should have stayed in the studio at ESPN." Yeah, right. But
he's doing
a really good job.
He's doing a good job. I'm just saying, when reality sets in about 30, 40 more games,
December,
people are gonna be saying, but he's doing a great job.
Yeah, that's the thing, and we got to give that love to those player coaches. And then the biggest surprise, number 6, the best team in California right now, Sacramento Kings.
Yeah.
But it's another good story. It's another good. He's like, it's going to stay like this for a little while. But Mike Brown is getting something out of them, something that they haven't had in a long time, right? And it shows some possible consistency, right? And now my Lake Show, we won 5 out of the last 6, right? And we're at 7-11 right now, and we're just a few games behind Minnesota and Golden State and Utah, because Utah's coming back down to earth, right? And so I said this before, and you said it too. I was like, listen, we still have a chance. It's wide open in the NBA all the way around, right? Wide open. So the number one thing for us, which we've been saying for the last 2.5 years, Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis. I think the other night he had like 38, 21 boards and like 5 blocks. Come on, son.
Yeah.
What? That's all we asked of you. Be you. Be you. Like that's it. But this is what I wanted to come to right here, right? The Golden State Warriors. And before we start this, I'll play this clip here. Just
one of the things I've even spoke about with the young guys is just the tough spot that they're in. Jonathan Kuminga's a 7th pick. Moses Moody is a 14th pick. James Wiseman is a 2nd pick. Those types of guys usually are on teams that suck, and they can do whatever they need to do to improve. That's not their situation. They're expected to contribute at a championship level in year 1 last year, in year 2 this year, in year 1 1/4 for James Wiseman. Like, you're expected to contribute at a championship level. The reality is, if you go find the rest of the guys around this league that are their age, and you try to put them in that situation, all of the guys that we're all like, oh man, that guy's doing great and he's going to be this. The reason we feel like that is because they're on bad teams and they can grow through their mistakes. It's not quite the same for those guys. And so in the long run, it'll be better for them having played championship basketball and adjusting to everything they need to adjust to. But right now you have to grow through those with those growing pains. And it sucks because, quite frankly, we haven't won as much, so then everything is your fault, and it's all coming down on you. And that's where we can make sure that we continue to do our job to win games so that their growing pains is not so magnified like they have been, because they're going to have them, and it's just no way around it.
That's. I mean, he just summed it up, man.
It's perfect, right? Now Chuck said a lot of interesting things about Klay Thompson, right?
Yeah.
And Klay, did you see Klay's numbers the other night? Mm-hmm. 41 piece.
Yeah. And what Chuck said wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
He spoke the truth, man.
Yeah.
It just hurts when when you know somebody personally and they're in the media and they say these things. But it's what he said was true.
Yeah.
And then if it makes Klay step it up, better for them.
And what the crazy thing was is I was watching those games. All Klay was doing was missing shots, right? And if you know basketball and seen him shoot, and then you understand playing, it's a rhythm thing. It's only a matter of time before that thing starts clicking again. And it's a little nerve-wracking. Now, my thing is that we look at the Warriors, and they're 10-10, and I'll let you jump in on this because everybody thinks I'm a Steph hater, right? But coaching perspective, what do we say about Steve Kerr here?
Well, that was one of the things I was thinking about when I was listening to that soundbite from Draymond Green, is that being that you have the caliber of players in Steph, Klay, Dre, and then some of those returning guys from championship team.
Wiggins, Poole.
This should be, I'm not saying it's difficult, but it should be an easier transition than most other coaches in terms of infusing these talented players that you have that were drafted so early into their culture, because not many people have that much talent at their disposal. And when you have 3-4 guys that are playing at the level that, we're talking about, Dre, even though people talk about his score, he's an integral part of that team. I'm sorry. Clay's coming back, he's catching on fire again. Steph's just been murdering people, and you got what's my man's name? The big
Looney.
Looney, he's a solid role player.
Very.
What's the dude that just signed for
Wiggins?
140?
Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole and Wiggins. Come on, man. Like that's enough right there. Where you shouldn't be 10-10. I'm sorry. And is Kerr a good coach? Yes, he is. He's a hell of a coach. But right now he's got to earn his money.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, they put him on like the top 20 all-time coaches list.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Right. And so if you do that, it's always interesting to see when the time comes where you have to show and tell. I mean, this is a challenge to where you have to create a new system to fit the tools that you have. Right. Because you're younger now. You're younger. You have like, it's like coming into college and you got a senior class, but then you got a sophomore class who's just as talented as it. And how do you utilize the tools of both and merge them together?
Right. Well, you're not gonna change everything just because Steph and Clay are still at a high level. These guys have to fit into the system that fits them because they are getting older. But if that's your job to find those roles for those guys, and let's face it, there's enough room for it to be done because the Warriors have done it before. Those teams they had, 2016s, they were talented because they had 5 guys that were starting. 3 of them were all-stars, and you had multiple former all-stars coming off the bench. And then you're talking about, 2 years later, you bring in KD. It doesn't get any more talented than that. And you found a way to make it work. So you got to find it now.
See, this is where I watch, we watch development for one, because those guys were rookies, right? They're really, really, really young. But then I watch the adjustment. And when I say change, I don't necessarily mean style of play, but now the roles change because you have to play for the future, right? Now you talk about Wiseman, Kuminga, Moody, Poole, all of them are 23 and under,
right?
On the upside going. And so how do you leverage your future and make sure that you're trying to, put those in the space?
Well, let me say this. When you're talking about professional sports, right now is what you're playing for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't have Steph, you don't have Clay, then you can say, okay, we got to make sure, Draymond, hey.
Okay, but this is where we get into the Steph part, right? I think Steph needs those. He needs Wiseman, Kuminga, and Poole to be great. That gives him the Tom Brady leverage of things because these type of numbers he's been putting up and these losses and things. We've been watching Dame do that with far less talent, and everybody been talking about those numbers are empty numbers because they don't lead to enough wins. Right. I mean, we've been watching that from stuff.
But let's come on, man. We already.
He said he's the best player in the world. That's what I'm seeing. People say.
Right.
That's what I'm
people
saying.
Are saying that.
That's what the league said. They said that's the best player in the world. Yeah. And I'm just saying, people talk to me all the time about empty numbers.
But why does it get under your skin, man? You know that no one's going to attack Steph.
I know they don't have to attack him. I just want some honesty.
I ain't saying attack him, but I'm saying
TJ probably go watch this and be like,
state the facts though.
Somebody go watch it like, TJ gonna watch this and be
because if you look at it and you just say you are on the side of the fence where you're kind of a Steph hater, you'll say, okay, well if he is the best player or one of the top 3 best players, and he's a point guard, then it's his job to get everybody going because that's what Chris Paul would do.
Right.
Chris Paul still eats, but he makes sure everybody else eats,
and don't shoot us nowhere near as well as he does.
So that's a lot of it's on Steph.
Are they gonna say that? That's all I'm saying, man.
Ain't nobody gonna say it.
Now, this is something that I didn't have on the docket, but it just popped in my head. I saw, you know how social media is, right? They put two videos up mirroring each other just so you can see the similarity. They do it all the time with Kobe and MJ, right? This one is gonna trip you out. James Harden up there, people doing this thing. Right under them is a video of Luka, saying Luka is the right hand of James Harden. Talking about James Harden in Houston, and now I'm watching, and Luka is very, very, very ball dominant.
Yeah, for sure.
Very ball dominant. He's bigger, takes up more space, and so a lot of people talk about how special he is. But there are a lot of similarities to what Houston James Harden was, and as far as everything was coming through his hands. It was pick and roll, ball up top, do what you want, a lot of stagnant basketball. And if you remember during that period of time, Kobe was still alive. He had done an interview with T-Mac, and he talked about, look, I had to learn. He said what he is doing offensively is absolutely incredible. But if you want to win, it's not going to work like that. And right now, they're 9-9, not winning games. And, just because of draft classes, whenever Trae Young shoots a lot, and the team doesn't win, it's all on him. It's all about Trae Young don't do this, Trae Young don't do that, right? But when they win, Luka's amazing. When they lose, Luka doesn't have enough talent around him. you see how that works, right? Like what is your reflection on that? What do you see going? And do you see the similarities between that? Thinking about it now, that Harden and Houston and Luka right now in Dallas.
Yeah, well, of course I do in terms of the way they play and dominate the ball. But Luka was kind of cast into that situation from his first year, though. James Harden, it was kind of like he and D'Antoni. That's just this the way I want to play. This is the way I want to coach. But, Luka, I'm not going to sit here and say that he doesn't get any blame because people do put a lot on him because, last couple of times when they bowed out, people say, hey, man, you got to make sure you got to play a little more defense, at least attempt to look like you play some defense, and you got to get people involved.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I do hear that.
But it's small. Like, I just heard Chuck, and Chuck is one of those people that be hating on Trae too, and he was just talking about how, we get to that next. Because Chuck said Ja Morant don't do enough to get his teammates better.
Well, you know the reason why Chuck say this.
He said the coffee cup.
It's because Chuck is one of those guys, old school guys, where he hates when the small dudes be popping trash and backing it up. Yeah. And, and Trae and Ja, they talk all the time.
And get to it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So he hates that stuff. That's the only reason. He admires their games and he respects their. He just hates that the chatter stuff. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Because back in the day, he probably dropped one of them when they come.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Yep. That was me. I'll take that one. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only reason. But with Luka, man, them losing Brunson hurt.
Yeah, and you had an interesting perspective on Brunson off air that we had talked about it a few times, right? You said Brunson shouldn't have took that money in New York. You said he should have stayed in
because he had a 30 ball the night and they still lost. Like New York, I'm not going there.
Yeah. You gotta put it in perspective on that though, because
what I'm saying is that I don't know the ins and outs of it, but from what Mark Cuban was saying that we didn't even get a chance to match. You know what I'm saying, to give another offer. When they offered Brunson that 52 or whatever, that was before the season.
Yeah, and he bet on himself.
And so he bet on himself, said, I'm going to play this out. And he was a big part of why they went so deep, you know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't need to be ball dominant to get buckets. And
he can distribute.
And he defends.
Yeah.
He's high IQ. So he fits in with those other role players at Dallas, except he's a tier above them. But I'm saying if New York is offering me 105, whatever it is, and Dallas and Cuban says, "Yo, we give you 90," I'm staying just because I know this is a formula that works, and I know my spot. I ain't going to New York because, listen, Tibbs is there, Tibbs
running into the ground.
He's still trying to figure out a rotation, and while he's doing that, he's playing cats like this is high school.
Yeah, he running into the ground.
Cats can't, cats after 2 or 3 games they in ICU, and then you're talking about just the Knicks organization. Man, I'm not going there.
But then you talk about being attached to a star like Luka. Like that's your counterpart. Like that's who you play with. So no matter what happens, you gonna make 90 mil, be in this second, maybe third focus. And you're going to be able to work out. You're going to be in a space. With a guy like Luka, he going to go up to the front office and demand to put more winning pieces around him. And Mark Cuban is he's a player's owner, right?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? You want to be around there. But in my mind, too, I'm thinking, shit, it's 100 M's.
Hey, I'm just saying.
That's the other part of it.
I got to at least see what they say.
Yeah.
If they say anything south of 85,
right?
Oh, I'm New York bound, baby.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there like, if I'm anywhere close in the ballpark,
especially with taxes,
Texas, no state for tax,
I'm
there. You know what I'm saying? And I just couldn't play for New York. I just that owner Dolan, I couldn't play for him.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
But speaking of playing, Dwight Howard and but now Boogie is just got announced that Boogie is going to Taiwan to play too.
What?
Yeah, so he's going to play in that same league. So then they got a bag that they throwing out over there for sure. Yeah, I hope that is enough for Boogie to get back into the league. I don't know about Dwight because actually Bob Myers was on All the Smoke and he said that he was talking to Boogie and Boogie was like, "Yo, why am I not in the NBA?" And he was like, "Look, they're afraid of you." He was like, "Just honestly speaking, like you can't just be as good as everybody else. You got to be nicer. We got to be happier. You got to be better. This, you got to be all this stuff because they're afraid, right? Because he just played with the Nuggets and was doing work. He was just doing work. So I think the Nets are going to end up picking him up because they don't have any paint presence. You know what I'm saying? But this would be good. But Dwight and Boogie are in Taiwan. Dwight had his debut, put up 10 tray balls. He shot 10 tray balls. He only made like 2 or 3.
Wow.
But he's 38 and 16. Now, Shaq, I don't think, did you see Shaq's comments?
Yeah.
Shaq, my man Shaq said he playing in a Lifetime Fitness League. and Dwight responded. Did you see his response? Yeah. Why Shaq doing that to him, man?
I know. But Shaq has also said he wants him to do well. He just wants him to be better. You know what I'm saying? And he could still be in the league, man.
Yeah, they ain't messing with Dwight.
But he just play around too much, yo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Did you see him out there in Taiwan?
Yeah, clowning. Shaqing the fool, you know what I'm saying? Like, and what's crazy is that it'll get to the point if he keeps doing crazy stuff, right? People be like, "Nah, we can't give a bag to an ex all-star because he can come over here and just not take the league seriously." You know what I'm saying? Like he's over there playing around shooting threes. Boogie gonna go over there just getting buckets.
And they was getting smacked the first couple quarters of that joint too. I'm looking at the scores like,
if he popping off,
Dwight, what you doing? Like y'all crazy. Boogie gonna go over there and do work.
We'll do work.
Yeah, and then get out of there quick, right? And so I think I saw something where Quinn Cook might be on his way out there too.
I like it because I've always been an advocate for the guys who are in the NBA. Stop sitting around at the crib
waiting for a call.
Yeah, go play.
Yeah,
because you
said that about Joe Johnson too, right?
Yeah, man. Because Joe still got a lot of game, but the phone's probably not gonna ring.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, you just sitting at the crib.
Yeah, go on vacation.
Yeah, go like you said, go on vacation because you get treated like royalty. It's most places are super nice to live. Go play, man. See something different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then if you're gonna get a call, you're gonna get a call.
Right. But you can still play, get it done. Now that's I think I do like the fact that Dwight stood up for his teammates in the league and was like, look, you can joke with me, but these are professionals. They do work hard at their craft, and this is a serious game. And so I think that's something that's going to be interesting to watch too. Because it's a couple things that came out and said that's going to be good. So I'm going to be watching that because Shaq.
We're all gonna be watching.
Shaq going to come back for something else. But going into our last topic for today, it's kind of a broad statement, like where's the game going? I sent you something on Twitter. This is gonna be really broad, but I sent you something on Twitter. It was an ESPN update, and the Indiana women's basketball coach expressed some disappointment after her number 6 ranked squad and other teams played in a hotel ballroom that had no stands for spectators at the Las Vegas Invitational. Now, I'll try to get these pictures up at the show, but they really played in a ballroom in Las Vegas. This is Big Ten, right?
SEC.
SEC. Like this is high level basketball. All the jokes people might make about the WNBA or whatever, but when it comes to college sports, it's a different bag available at all levels when it comes to basketball and football. So for them to be playing in a ballroom.
Listen, when you first said ballroom, right? And I was thinking about, the Connecticut Huskies, ladies team. They've played in, it's called the Mohegan Sun or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's like a casino, but they make it into like an arena, a small arena. And but it's a nice venue where they have like the Connecticut Sun would play there sometimes. So it's something that you can play and have fans, and it's a great atmosphere. But to be in a ballroom in Vegas and not have fans, that's crazy. Like I'm calling my AD. We ain't playing. Yeah. I'm not gonna disrespect my team. I'm not doing that. We're not playing there.
A ballroom, right?
And we ain't doing it.
That just to think, like man, because you work so hard, like you being able to play college sports, and then you're at the pinnacle of college sports. If you in one of the blue blood schools like Indiana, right? If you one of them top, like that's a rich tradition, right? And you work hard to get there, and then as a coach, those hours recruiting, like what you're telling these kids, this experience that you're telling them, and they go out on this trip after you done had them, 5 a.m. workouts, this and that, and they go here, and their hard work that's crazy. And now, we talk about entitlement and all this stuff here, but when it comes to sports, right, we're seeing sports in everything. We see sports in politics, right, internationally, and domestic, right? Like, where do we see the game evolving at in terms of ethics and off the court understanding? Because now I think that there's no line between being a trainer and coach. It's one and the same. If you're good at what you do and you really understand, and you have to grow into it, right? Because you can't just train without understanding the concepts of somebody's system, like coaching, being in certain places. If you want to be a good one, right? If you want to be if you want to be a good one, and we're speaking to those that aspire to be good, you got to be a trainer and a coach. It got to be one and the same, right? As the things evolve, because players have evolved, so they have to evolve, and so that also means we have to evolve in how we prepare our young men and women for things off the court,
right? Because
it's inevitable. Right? Like you have conversations all the time between, you 17, 18. Imagine having Kyrie Irving on your team as a high school kid. Maybe he was inquisitive at that time, but who you gonna talk to? And now it may be like, yo, you really here. So where does the game go off the court for us as coaches and trainers when it's talking about getting them prepared for everything?
Well, it really hasn't changed from what it was 30 years ago in terms of how people should act off the court. You know what I'm saying? That's just being a model citizen. I'm sorry. And if you're a college athlete, even a top high school athlete, even on a CYO team, there's just certain ways, there's certain things you should do to represent yourself, your family, your coach, your team off the court, no matter what you do. And that those aspects of life are not being taught because everybody's so concerned with what's their next job in terms of coaching or training. And they don't want to offend anybody. And the thing is, knowing kids, knowing players, if you tell them the truth, it may not be what they want to hear. And if you lose them, you're going to lose them anyway.
Say that again into the mic. So they got to hear that loud and clear.
If you tell somebody, a player, what they don't want to hear at that time, but it's the truth, and you lose them, you were going to lose them anyway further down the line.
Yeah.
So you might as well be honest in the beginning and know who you're dealing with and work with what you got.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, people now are so concerned with, oh man, I don't want to ruin my reputation because this, we lost this great player. Well, that might not be the player for you anyway, because there's great players that leave great programs all the time.
Yeah.
We're looking at an era of basketball or football, any sport actually, where a guy can be an all-conference player and transfer the next year.
Yeah.
And you're wondering, like, why are you transferring? You just averaged 18 and 10. Now you're going to transfer, so you might as well be who you are and try to coach them the best way possible, and always reemphasize that, be a model citizen to represent us off the court, because it's going to help them in the long run and could potentially save their career.
Yeah.
Because right now the problem, all the guys that are having issues off the court, it's just because they didn't hear certain things at a younger age.
Yeah. And when I what a kid asked me today, he asked me, driving a kid home, one of our new kids that came from some other academies. He was telling me some things, and then he was like, "Yo, coach, why are y'all in Dubai?" He said, like what made you guys come to Dubai, right? And I had a new parent that came to us, and she was like, "Yeah, who do you guys work for?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Who? She asked. I'm like, what type of is that? Like, what do you mean? Like, she said, who you guys is boss? Like, you guys just come here, that's all you do? And I was like, nah. And I think one of the important things, and I think it's something that I'm unconsciously trying to do, is make sure I push some success in avenues outside of basketball, right? That's why the podcast is important. The thing that I'm working on right now. Yeah. I want to make sure, like, God willing, that those things prosper, so that people can see the multiple layers that we have, and how basketball was kind of a foundation for that,
right?
And how we can offer different levels of guidance because of that, right? Like you got those years of experience on me already, right? But as you said, I got to create my new path to that so I can speak from my own experience. And when I look at how inevitable it's going to be to where a kid is going to come into your class one day and ask you about something they saw on the news, because they trust us.
Right.
I mean,
safe space.
I've had one of our players ask us, like, "Yo, coach, what does it mean to be anti-Semitic?" Right? Like, what's going on? Like, why are they doing this that way? Like, why is this that way? And as an adult, it's really kind of irresponsible for you to kind of like completely deflect it and not be, either you don't know the answer, you can say, "Hey, I can push you somewhere that somebody does know." Right? Or at least try to educate within that, because now we're just leaving the door open for anybody to give an opinion. And, now the kid came to you, which we don't get enough of.
Right.
So they come to you, try to make that effort to go reach out. Because as an adult anyway, you need to be spending some time understanding what's going on so you can prepare for how the world is going,
Yeah, like we talk about it all the time, man. It's not just what happens on the court with your players, man. You gotta have some type of foundation of what they do off the court, And it's just it all comes back, and it's intertwined in how your team is gonna function.
Man.
Because there's gonna be moments where, man, this kid is off tonight, and you wonder why. Well, you happen to know there might be a situation at home that's bothering this kid.
Yeah.
And if you're with that kid multiple times during the week, and that kid is passionate about basketball, because we are running a basketball company, you could be one of the few people that could reach that kid.
Man.
And if you sit there and you're closed-lipped and you don't say anything and something happens, it's on you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because they are children.
Yeah. You had an opportunity to help.
Yeah. And so that's something that, like, it's responsibility, right? Unspoken one. And we always talk about basketball got unspoken rules.
Yep.
They're unspoken rules. Like, there's certain things, don't leave the basketball on the side underneath the basket. We know everybody playing. You know what I'm saying? You know, certain things that we just all know not to do. And like, it's the same thing.
And we need to say a few things now and then. You need to post something.
No, we gotta.
Seriously.
You know,
Man.
I was just thinking we gotta have an episode dedicated to the old school, because as much trash that I talk about Chuck, it was a bad dude.
Oh,
I don't think people really understand the round mouth. I don't think, like, we're going to have to give an episode to Chuck, because Chuck was a bad dude.
yeah. But
But
we do need to do that. I'm just
and
talking
break
about,
down the etiquette, too.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I see other coaches here
Oh, my goodness.
coming to a gym and start a game and there's basketballs laying everywhere.
Yeah.
What? I see other coaches allowing kids to sit on basketball.
Yeah.
You know, I know everybody sees the little the
Pictures and shit.
of the little kids sitting. That's okay if you weigh 50 pounds.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You're 12, 13 years old. You should not be sitting on a basketball
crush
because
it.
you're going to ruin it.
I mean, even on the court, like, when somebody's airborne, don't push them in the back.
Just-
Right. You know what I'm saying? Those things that, like, you're supposed to learn that early.
Yeah.
You're supposed to learn that early.
Little
but
things, man.
But all of that comes into understanding and respect of things, right? And so, as coaches, I'm starting to see that how important it is to make sure you are an informed adult,
Yeah.
because those moments are going to come. And then you also got to understand, you know, it's kind of like dealing with media. You got to be real careful with what you say, because everybody comes from a completely different background.
Right.
And so you don't want to be the one to trigger something that might, you know, create some type of issue within the house too. So, you know, that goes there. But these are the two things that I wanted to, I heard somebody talking about, right? Was developing an edge, and then why is winning not being taught to kids? And I heard somebody say, why is winning not being taught? And then I'm thinking about it, and then they gave examples like a kid will lose by, I've seen people lose by 30 and 40, and they didn't get an MVP or they didn't get an award, even though matter of fact, this is a prime example. Over that WSG, that World School Games, there was a kid who was really good on a bad team.
Yep.
He scored a lot of points. He did well, and I was like, you know, you're not deserving of MVP, but you all told me you are a
Remember
standout.
that? Yep.
But the kid was like, hey, I did so much, I should have been MVP. I said, did you win?
Yeah.
And there's a couple people like, did you win? Like, what did you contribute to winning? He's like, why did that guy get it? Like, what did you contribute to winning?
Right.
And then I'm listening to all smoking, the guys talking about somebody lose by 15, but they say, hey, did you see my step back? And now I'm sitting there letting it run back, letting it think, and it was like, yeah, people aren't being taught how to win. I don't know, like, how do we get back to prioritizing those winning habits? And I mean, we're doing it at our space, but you know, it's in totality.
Hey man, it's the culture of what can you do for me, and that's just where we are, man. You think about, we talked about the whole college situation with guys transferring a lot, right? And a lot of it's got to do with the NIL situation.
Oh yeah,
and I've always said, if your likeness is being sold in college, yes, you should profit from that. But some of the other stuff, we've gone a little too far, and it's caused a selfish mentality. And so you think about some programs that have 4 and 5 star recruits that aren't winning. It's because, hey, how can you build a team culture where everybody's out for self?
man.
That's hard, man. And so that's where we are. So you talk about how can we teach winning? It starts from the grassroots. Everybody doesn't win a trophy.
That's real, man.
Everybody does not win a trophy for participating. And just if you happen to be slightly better than a couple other people on another team, that doesn't mean you're MVP. It doesn't mean you're on an all-tournament team. It just means you had a decent day.
King, I'm finding it hard sometimes to be politically correct with parents that come and try to coerce you into giving their kids something to make them feel better, right? Or like if they feel like their kid should be at a certain level because their kid is telling them that, and we're like, nah, like it's not where it is. And then just watching, I'm sitting here thinking like why do you think the world works that way?
Right. Well, you have to, of course, over time you will eventually learn to let it go. And what I mean by let it go is you just state the facts as to why that kid is in a certain level or why he didn't win a certain award. And then the next thing is, hey, if they still don't get it, well, you're free to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And you leave it alone.
Yeah.
Because they'll figure it out sooner or later that, he was in the right spot.
Yeah. Those winning habits. I remember Coach Thomas telling us this. He said, if you're a winner now, you'll be a winner forever.
Yep.
If you learn how to win today here, you'll be a winner forever. And I swear, even when I look back at my teammates from the state championship team, like, I look at Josh, I look at Trav, I look at Winbush, I look at G, and then I can go down the list. Like, everybody, when I look back, they winning. I look at Blue, like, everybody, same type of morals, everybody still pushing, everybody figuring it out.
They're good citizens.
Man.
That's what I'm saying.
And they're good at what they do in their respective fields. Like, they're taking care of family. All of them that I see that have kids taking care of it. Like, I'm sitting here watching, it's like, man, those sacrifices. Yeah. I'm starting to say that more to our kids and our young bucks. It's like, you really got to sacrifice some things. Yep. You got to sacrifice some things because it's just not going to happen this way. If everybody could get it by doing it their way, then it wouldn't feel as good.
Right.
You got to sacrifice some things to get some winning stuff. So we'll start. We'll keep breaking that up. This is the end of the pod. You guys know how we wrap it up. A post-game wrap-up. Before we get the post-game wrap-up, I want to remind you guys, Hoop Mountain Dubai, get us on YouTube. Episode 2 of our vlog is about to drop. We got a special Hoop Mountain family barbecue video that's going to drop right after that. That's lit. That's dope. Hoop Mountain family, moms and dads, we got some surprises for you guys at the shootout. Something we've been working. We got some heat about to drop for you guys. So be prepared, be ready.
Don't forget about camp coming up.
Oh yeah, we'll have one more episode before camp. I'm gonna get camp a special breakdown. I might have some old clips from California ball. I might have some old clips. From the very first one when nobody had Hoop Mountain gear.
Yeah. Outside.
But
we hooping now though.
Yeah, it's getting dope. So, Coach OG, what we got for the post game wrap up? I think I gotta find something today.
Oh man, just something short and sweet. This goes for our Hoop Star players right here that were on our teams this past Friday. Some of them were successful in terms of how their team performed. Some were not. And, for the ones that, happened to win their games, kudos to you, but there's still work to be done. We're so far off from where we need to be, but the effort is there. For the teams that didn't do so well, that, let's be honest, got smacked around. You cannot get you cannot get upset about that just because you got to understand where we're starting from. We have a team consisting of players who have just started to play the game, and you're matched up against people who have played for multiple years together. So they have a clear-cut advantage over us. But if we keep working hard and we stick together and we believe, we'll close that gap. And that's all that matters. You're not here to win a trophy. You're here to get better at the game of basketball and enjoy it. So, the other things will come, but you just have to stay the course. Stay the course.
Man, and then that's real. And just to add to what Coach is saying, man, we don't expect you to know everything. We get so many kids that come to us and be like, Coach, this is my first time. I don't know. And I didn't do this and this. That's like, yo, we know it's going to be a struggle for you. We know it's not going to be easy. We just want you to know that we got you. Just trust us.
Just do what we ask.
That's it. To add on to that, to kind of evolve from that space, I want to reiterate something we've talked about. I think we might have worded it a little different, but we are what we attract. I've been seeing that popped up a lot lately, and we're at the age where we deal with teenagers a lot, and so a lot of times they can be negative, right? They can be having really negative attitudes toward things just because they feel like the world is against them, right? But we are what we attract in a lot of ways, and so if you're in a space to where you feel like a lot of toxic, that's a popular word, people are coming into your space and you're feeling like, man, right now I don't have around me what I think I need. Let's start to look internally first, right? Because everything always starts within, and you physically can make changes to whatever your surroundings are, right? Your surroundings, your outlook on things, you can literally make those changes on that. And man, what a difference that can take, right? That's a huge difference. And it only takes a little bit of time. You don't have to go find it in a book or on YouTube or whatever. You can sit and be like, you know what? Today I'm just not going to accept that. I'm going to give myself a chance and change that up. So, you are what you attract, and start to, change that mindset. So, HMD, you know what it is, or to find us, hoopmountain.ae, Hoop Mountain DXB on all social media platforms, BTG Nation, follow us. Let's get it going. Let's keep growing. We're almost at 800 followers.
We didn't push the button this time, right?
Oh, we loaded. We all good. Everything's good. Red buttons on everywhere. We might have some surprises coming up soon, too. So, BTG, you know what it is. Keep it real. Keep it simple. Keep going.
Player and coach, the brother to brother. They both got views that you need to discover. From sports, current events to just life talk. Whether you on a fast break or a nice walk, gotta tune in. You already know, G. This BTG Nation and you one of the homies. Just tune in. You already know, G. BTG Nation, the other ones in the nosebleeds.